Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you after a bye week, short-handed, no Laskers. I got Gingy. I might have found a way to fix the audio problems, even if they persist. So happy news all around. It's time to be rejuvenated about the podcast, about the Steelers, about the season, Gingy.
Woo! Mutant Gingy in the house. We talking football. We playing video games. We are coming off a bye week, Donkey. Gotta keep it moving. We have TJ coming back. Let's go, so he says.
Arguably
And
the biggest thing.
And let's hope that the second half of the season be better than the first.
That's for sure. We would love to see an improvement from the Steelers team going forward. That's what the coaches want to let you think what's happening. That's what the players want to let you think what's happening. I'm going to lay down a theory of why that can happen really well, though, Gingy, and it's purely based off the schedule. You go through that first half, you're talking opponents' winning percentage of 62 and only 2 losing teams out of 8. So that's only 25% of the games against teams with a losing record. You go into the second half, opponents' winning percentage is only 43%, and 6 out of the 9, or 66% of the opponents we are going to play in the second half, have a losing record. So that alone should mean the Steelers should be able to get some things going, get this ship righted. Getting TJ Watt back's going to help. But is that enough to really turn around the whole tide of the season? That's the question I have for you, Gingy.
Well, and again, as an individual Steeler fan, it really depends on what the tide of the season is here. Where are we really rebuilding, Donkey? Is that what we're doing now? Or
Definitely.
are you looking to? Well, I mean, in technicality, of course we are. But does that mean that you're giving Kenny Pickett, Mike Tomlin, and the team a pass on playoffs, on division championship? Where do you draw the line there? What is
I
feasible?
have
What's
zero hope
viable?
of playoffs. I think the goal is 6 or 7 wins. I want to see the second half of the season be at least 500 football, and improvement to me is the key. We've witnessed 8 weeks of Steelers football, and it's gotten progressively worse. That can't be the case in the second half. The second half needs to show improvement and needs to show wins. If not, it's a big time for the Steelers to take a hard look at every coach on this coaching staff and decide if this coaching staff has the direction to lead this team forward. Because let's be honest, if they don't show improvement, you just spent a first rounder on a quarterback, you spent a first rounder on a running back, a second rounder on a tight end, all second round wide receivers. And if this offense can't show improvement, are any of these coaches worth keeping? When you consider this is a defense that's the second highest paid defense in the league and is a bottom 10 unit. So you're telling me the defensive coaches aren't getting production out of the high paid players and the offensive coaches aren't getting production out of the high draft picks? To me, there has to be a big evaluation if things don't turn around.
I Yeah, I have to tend to agree with you, Donkey. We spent a high draft pick on Kenny Pickett. Got it. I don't want to say got to turn out because it doesn't have to turn out, but you'd really like it to. It's we don't have much else in the running there. But I really liked your point about quality opponent throughout the second part of the season. I think that's one of the real 3 big positives that I'm looking at for the Steelers turnaround for the second half. That's definitely TJ Watt's return, the quality of the opponent being played, and really getting to continue to see this team gel and develop as a unit. We got a bunch of young guys out there. We got new guys out there from the beginning of the season and whatnot. And really, there's been a lot of inconsistency, especially across the offense, and some various injuries on defense. I'm excited to see maybe what we have all together moving forward.
I hear you on that, and I would like to see some progress going forward. Before we get to this week's talk and this week's opponent, the Saints, Ginger, there's a couple fun NFL facts I want to get your quick take on. One, how about the Indianapolis Colts hiring a coach who hasn't ever coached anything other than high school football? I mean, why the hell doesn't he just hire me to be his coach if all he needs is a white drinking buddy? I mean, yo, bro, I'm pretty good at doing both of those things. Like, what a slap in the face to every coach on that staff that a guy who hasn't coached in a major setting gets to be the head coach of an NFL football team. And by the way, really great look for the NFL too.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say. Irsay has always marched to the beat of of his own drummer, so to speak. Saturday's definitely a Colts guy, definitely a football guy. I don't know if he per se knows anything about being a head coach in the NFL, but it looks like he's getting a shot.
he certainly is getting a chance. Part two, Mike Tomlin said, we'll go into this offseason. There will be changes. We're going to make changes. We're going to improve the roster or improve this team, right? By changes, did he mean literally doing nothing but trading his number 2 receiver, which I don't know how improves the roster, and then trading for broken parts and William Jackson III, which, by the way, how does a man who has a back injury and couldn't play in Washington get traded for by the Steelers? They claim he's healthy, but he's going to miss his first game because of that same back injury. Never even practiced, just already missing games due to the back injury. Is that a major fail on this team's ability to, I don't know, perform a physical that we traded for broken parts?
It might be. He's got to get in there soon. Maybe they knew. Donkey.
Well,
He's got a good prognosis.
I hope they didn't know, because they're guaranteeing $3 million to a dude who's not going to play a snap is what it kind of seems like right now. That's a little scary. But Mike Tomlin said changes were coming, but did I miss something? Was there a change done, Gingy, that I didn't see?
That changes the quarterback.
But that happened before the bye.
Yeah. No, I don't really see much to speak of there, Donkey, in regards to major change. What options did they have, though? What would you propose a major change that they could make right now on the offense? Is it Matt Canada? Is that what you're going to say?
You could do that. There's really easier changes than that. Jalen Warren's the starting running back. Chuck Okorafor is moving over to left tackle, and that dude we traded for from Detroit is playing right tackle. Dan Moore Jr. gets benched. You say Deontay Johnson's no longer a starting receiver. We're starting Boykin, Sims, and Pickens. I mean, I guess maybe the change was, and the big change was just Chase Claypool. Maybe that's what they were referring to. But there was a lot of little changes they could have made that would have, I don't know, had a prognosis in something. Maybe it's Dotson, because he can't seem to hold his bacon ever and gets a penalty every time, is getting benched. Mason Cole's moving over to left guard, and J.C. Hassenauer starting at center. I mean, there were things that could have been done, and it certainly looks like the Steelers did nothing, in my opinion, Gingy.
I don't know. Hopefully we see something different on offense than what we've seen the first half of the season this Sunday.
Or maybe, riddle me this, the Steelers knew that Chris Boswell was going on IR. So the move that in fact was the major move was benching 66% of the Steelers offense because he's going on IR and signing Matthew Wright from Kansas City's practice squad. I think I figured it out. That was the major change. 66% of our offense is going on IR. There will be changes. I got it. Okay. Well,
I don't know. Where's that positivity, Donkey?
My positivity is about to come right here, right now. As you all Steeler fans used to hear all the time when I used to go back to the games, it's right here, right now. That song still gets stuck in my head when fourth quarter starts and we're on offense, because it's time, baby. This is Pittsburgh. This is versus New Orleans. This is a season series that has New Orleans winning 9 and the Steelers winning 7. We've met a whopping 16 times in the history here. At Pittsburgh, Steelers are 3-3. On the road, the Steelers are 4-6. The largest win was 23 points by the Steelers in 1993 on a 37-14 win at home. New Orleans has won the game by 10 twice in 1968 and I believe 1990, of scores 14-24 and 10-20. Fun note, if you look at the history of this series, there is not a whole lot of scoring done between these two teams. The current streak is New Orleans won 3 straight, which is the longest streak in the series for New Orleans. They did it right now and from 68 to 69. Steelers, ironically, also won 3 straight from 74 to 81. The last meeting was December 23rd in 2018. The Steelers lose by 3 to New Orleans at 28 to 31. One of the most high-scoring affairs this season series has ever had between these two teams. I thought since it was the post, what do you want to call it, post-bye week, that I would bring you more stats because, I don't think I do a good enough job of breaking down the opponent right now. Ooh, nice interception right there for the Steelers by Joe Hayden in the game. We're coming in. New Orleans is the 10th best team in terms of points at 23.6 a game, 6th in yards at 391. That breaks down to 7th in passing yards and 12th in rushing yards. Really good offense right here right now, led by New Orleans, led by Andy Dalton of all people. Red Rocket coming for vengeance. But their defense is 29th in points, Gingy, at 25.2 a game. They're 11th, though, in yards, which is 9th in passing yards and 19th in rushing yards. So maybe a weakness the Steelers can expose is the running gap there, as they give up about 120 a game. They've also surrendered 19 sacks. TJ Watt coming back, allegedly. We won't know till Saturday at 4. This could be a good spot for the Steelers to go ahead and take advantage. That's 2 sacks a game. That's somewhere the Steelers can really exploit. Time of possession, New Orleans averages 30 minutes a game. That's literally even, if even could be a number. Gingy, you look at those stats. Little bit surprising the Saints come in with a losing record with how good that offense is performing.
Yeah. What's the issue? I think it's their defensive consistency. They let up a lot of points and really, well, they're still looking for they're one of those midway teams. They're still looking for somebody at the helm, a true franchise guy that can lead that team and lead that offense with the tools that they do have, and Kamara and Thomas when he's out there, but he's on IR.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll just say this is why the positivity should come. This is a week the Steelers need to take advantage of the injuries on the opponent. I mean, you're talking Melvin Ingram's not going to play. Pete, their starting guard's not going to play. McCoy, their starting center's not going to play. Penning, who was scheduled to be a starting tackle, has been on IR all year. Michael Thomas, the wide receiver's added to IR. You look on the defensive side of the ball. Their leading tackler, Pete Werner's not playing in this game. Marshawn Lattimore, the best corner on that team, arguably best in football, not playing this game. They already had to put Bradley Roby, their other starting corner, on IR. So when you look at this team, Gingy, they are just suffering on the injury bug right now. Now, that doesn't mean this offense still doesn't have explosive weapons. You're talking Chris Olave out there. Shaheed has a lot of speed. Jarvis Landry has abused us before, but dropped a lot of passes that won us the Cleveland game last year. Thank you, Jarvis. Taysom Hill, a guy who can go out and do everything. But when you look at the injuries there, you look at those weapons still on offense, this should be a game where the high-paid Steelers defense shows up, even though we're missing newly acquired William Jackson III and Ahkello Witherspoon, right? This is a game this defense needs to show up.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think that they're playing versus a caliber of offense that isn't going to run them over. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Look, we've played the teams that we really were not competitive against so far this season were the Bills and the Eagles. Truly.
Yeah.
Not ever in any sight of those games. But look at the caliber of opponent those are. Like I said, I don't think that we're looking for Super Bowl aspirations here, but I think that a dub this week is very doable and very, very necessary for the continued development of this team. We don't really need them getting deflated and giving up.
That's true. Offensively, this is a team that needs to start showing up. Kenny Pickett needs to start getting open receivers. Receivers starting need to get open. Najee Harris, we're now past the bye week. If he comes out looking slow, I don't think you can blame the injury anymore. This should have been enough time for it to heal. He needs to be decisive. He needs to hit holes, or he needs to sit the pine for Jaylen Warren, my personal thought. Because when you look at this defense, you're talking Cam Jordan, obviously borderline Hall of Fame talent, has 5 sacks again this year. They have Demario Davis out there, good linebacker, second on the team in tackles, has 6 sacks this year from the blitzing linebacker spot. But that's letting you know those are the only 2 guys above 4 sacks on this team. That's letting you know it's likely New Orleans has to bring pressure in order to get to the quarterback. That should be an area that lets the Steelers exploit openings, mismatches, and not a too deep shell that everyone seems to be playing against us. with running people up. I mean, when you look on the outside, they have 2 interceptions this whole year, Gingy, on defense. They're both by the Honey Badger, Matthew. But if we can just shy away from him, you talk about the guys who are out there: Paulson Adoho, Alontae Taylor, Chris Harris Jr. was good 3 years ago, but hasn't been good for a while. Those are the corners the Steelers get to attack this week. This has to be a week where we have a run-first offense that attacks downfield and makes big plays. If it doesn't happen this week, then when? Because the injuries on New Orleans, the coming off the bye week, there is no reason there shouldn't be a perfect game plan and the ability to exploit the outside this week, Gingy.
Hey, here, donkey. It's definitely going to, you talked about the defense needing to perform and really stepping up this week. I really would like to see something from this offense. They've had time to rehearse, time to get healthy, time to give Pickett the reps and the snaps that he needs overall to continue to develop. Like you said, my X factor multiple times this year, and I think overall for the year from the beginning has been Najee Harris. I believe in him. I believe in him, donkey. You've seen the sparks of the talent throughout the time, but he needs to step up and perform. This week, I want to see something. Here's what I want to see, donkey. I want to see a scripted series that marches right on down the field and gets points. Either the one, if we receive the one that starts the first quarter or the one that starts the third quarter. I want that to look damn good.
I hear you, Gingy, but I just want to disagree that I want to see the scripted series score, because I believe both scripted series touchdowns was the Buffalo and Philly game. Please, God, not again. That's all I have to say. I believe both times we scored first drive TDs was Buffalo and Philly.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate omen, but still, donkey, you know what I'm saying.
Gingy, I got one last thing I think we need to talk about here, and it's where is the plus player on this offense, though? Because it's not Najee right now. Is it Pat Freiermuth? Maybe. But is that really the biggest problem right now? Is when you look at the Steelers' offense, there's just not a plus player right now.
Yeah, not unless, I mean, here's the deal, though. It's a lot of pressure on Kenny, but he is a first rounder. He's got to be a plus guy as well.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Najee is more on the hook. Deontay's very on the hook. There's a lot of guys who are on the hook, in my opinion, who've had opportunities to show and perform and need to come through.
I hear you on that. And the thing I'm going to say about Kenny Pickett, and I think a lot of people are underestimating this, is practice reps matter. And let's not forget, Kenny Pickett didn't get the reps with the one in the preseason. Kenny Pickett didn't get the reps with the one through week 4 of the season. So you're talking, this is literally, if Kenny Pickett would have got reps with the one from day one, that's where he would be right now at week 1. So essentially, we should drop all of Kenny Pickett's stats before this, because that was training camp, that was preseason reps. Okay? I know they were in real games that mattered, but when you look at the timing, those were preseason, those were training camp reps. This is day 1 to me. This is when the evaluation of Kenny Pickett begins, because it's no longer he's not in sync with these guys. They haven't had time to work it out. They've been working with each other for over a month. This is the time the rubber hits the road. This is the time these guys need to show something. This is the time to start evaluating Kenny Pickett, because we need to know that first round pick next year. If there's a hot quarterback you like, do you take him? Or is Kenny Pickett shown enough that you can take an offensive tackle, a defensive edge rusher that can make a difference, right? Is this the time for you, Gingy? Do you feel that way? Do you feel this is when the evaluation of Kenny Pickett begins? Or do you feel those last 4 weeks should be weighted into the overall picture of Kenny Pickett?
I still think they get fair or not fair isn't a question. The question is do they get weighted? And yeah, I think they do. I think they do overall, donkey. That's the NFL. This is a big boys league. you're not playing at Pitt anymore, and he's going to be expected to perform.
I hear that. I just wish he would have some performers around him as well to help out here. I'm looking at you, Najee Harris. You were a first round pick.
Yeah,
Stop playing
that's
like
the
Trent
guy.
Richardson.
That's the guy.
Side note, how about on the defensive side, getting DeMonte Kazi back could be a really huge X factor, as that might let us put Terrell Edmonds down in the box more often as that coverage backer instead of Robert Spillane, who, if I ever need someone to hit Derrick Henry in the hole, Spillane's got my absolute pick for it. If I ever need anyone for anything else, he certainly doesn't. I think TJ Watt coming back should be huge. But I think DeMonte Kazi coming back could be just as huge for the Steelers defense, Gingy. What you thinking?
I agree. They need all the help they can get back there. Take a look at the last game that we've played. What's the unit that you think really got exposed the most?
Defensively, everything. Offensively, everything. Special teams, the fact, honestly, probably everything. I think our team just got exposed as a lower quality team than the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't even know what to say.
Harsh.
It's true, though.
Harsh but true. Here.
It's just what got exposed was our inability to draft and retain talent. Because honestly, Javon Hargrave, a guy we let go, looked like a more talented player than any player on the Steelers roster. That's all I'm going to say. Without TJ Watt playing, Javon Hargrave probably would be the most talented player on this roster.
I'm not going to argue with you there.
Oh, that leads us to a fun spot. Gingy, any other takes on this New Orleans game before we get into our picks?
Get after them early. Don't let them get a lead and settle in. Got to put the pressure on them. Got to put the pressure on their quarterback. Perform. They allow them to just sit back and get into a rhythm and get, protected by Kamara and a steady run game. That ain't going to work. Steelers need confidence. I want to see some points, Donkey. I want to see some points. 25 points or more coming off of a bye week, Donkey. I understand that the offense overall, even when we're at top peak potential, we're talking like B level, right? And this is if they gel as a unit and they're healthy. Mm-hmm. I would like to see C level offense. I'd like to see 24 points, maybe.
My goal
maybe
for
a defensive touchdown added to that to make it 30 overall, Yeah.
My goal always, and I say the average offensive performance should be 5 scores a game, at least 2 touchdowns. You do the math there, that says 23 points. My goal is always an average game needs to be at least 23 points. You should be scoring 23 points or more at least 60% of the time. That's how I've always felt. So to me, that's where the number is. The number for me is 23. But before we get into picking the Steelers game and X factors on it, Gingy, Baltimore, Cincy have a bye, so that leaves us with Cleveland at Miami as the only other game to pick. Who'd you got?
Miami. They're looking really strong, Donkey.
I'm taking Miami too, and the simple reason is Tua doesn't lose, and damn, I wish those rumors about them wanting to trade him were true, and the Steelers would have took advantage of it. I would like to see that. I'd love to see a number 13 touchdown this week. In this game is James Washington, but Miles Boykin in the end zone, that would be fun to see. Personal thought on that. But Gingy, before we get into picks for this week, I want to let you know, next week we're gonna go with a new little segment in between our breakdown of the old game and our coming up of the new game. And it's going to be called the Gingy Differential. And what it's going to be is I want you to give me a play or a stat that changed the Steelers game. And we're going to do it every week. It's going to be the Gingy Differential, and it's going to be what made the game. Fair enough?
Right on. Right on. I'm ready. I'm excited for the challenge.
If you want to change the segment name, feel free. I just kind of winged it on the spot. But Gingy, it's time. Pick this game. Pittsburgh, New Orleans. Who you got? What's the score?
Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a bye. Hopefully looking rested, looking prepared. I am looking for a 31-26 victory.
I sounded like I'm a Dark Crystal character there, but I like it. I like it. I am on board. The Steelers coming off a bye. Mike Tomlin's team being doubted. The players getting after each other. I expect some fire. I expect some TJ Watt fireworks. I expect a defensive touchdown. And I expect a 23-17 Pittsburgh Steelers win. And you know how it's going to happen? The defense is going to step up at the end of the game because Red Rocket is going to crumble. That's all I got to say, Gingy. That's all I got to say.
We've seen that before. We've seen that before.
It's time for shout-outs. Gingy, do you have one after a bye week, or is it still a loss in the book because we didn't win the last one?
Shout out to reigning defensive player of the year, TJ Watt. I know I do that quite a bit, but come on, we gotta show love where it's due. Haven't seen him in a bit. The only spark we've got to see him this season was an electric performance in week 1. Boy, oh boy, I hope he's well, and I hope we're able to match some of that energy, and I hope he brings some life to the rest of the team as well.
The video game gods love Gingy, as you just saw Drew Brees getting sacked by TJ Watt as Gingy was shouting out TJ. So there we go. My shout out is not going to be a single Pittsburgh Steeler this week, but rather every veteran of the United States. It's Veterans Day. Gotta give a shout out to the boys, the girls who were willing to sacrifice it all. Fortunately, didn't have to. That's why they're a veteran and not one we give presents to on Memorial Day. Shout out to all the fellow veterans out there. Kudos to you for doing what you did. It's not an easy thing, but it's something someone has to do. So, as one myself, mad respect for all of y'all. Appreciate all of y'all. I have nothing but love for all of y'all, honestly. I guess it's time to let you know. I am the Viking Donkey, Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of donkey with Ginger's YouTube channel. Leave us a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get told every time we make some fun content. I'm doing my best to fix the audio problems. Think I might have found a cheat way to fix it. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, let me know. I will try to figure out something else. But Donk Nation, I love y'all. I'm sending it over to Gingy.
Mutant Gingy over here. We talking football. We playing video games. Steelers fans, hello. Last week I told you to keep them towels warm and ready. Let's go. Let's pull them out. Gonna need that energy this week. Bringing that. 30 points. Let's see an offensive explosion. Steelers fans, Jackson Jennings, wave them if you got them. Here we go.